Hey, you guys, thanks for joining us on this episode of the Rave Mom Podcast. Today, I have Rave Mom Terry Jackson with me.
Hi.
And I'm so glad. We have a thing. We should show them what our thing is when we call on the phone. So pretend I'm calling you. What you say, you go, hello. So I'll call her on the phone. And this is how she always answers my call.
Hello, Colleen.
And I always say, hello, Terry Jackson. Anyway, it's just kind of our thing.
Yeah.
We are just super good friends. We are not related, but we feel like we are. And we love to go to rave events, to love on kids. And like I said in one of the other episodes, we call you guys kids because we're old. Terry is older than me.
I'm wiser.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think so.
Anyway, but you guys are quite a bit younger, and our kids are getting old.
Yes.
And you've got
almost
adult kids.
Yes, I do. Like 38 and 35.
Yeah. And mine are like 35 and then down to 26. So, and I've got 5 grandbabies now, which is really fun. A whole new stage of life for me. But anyway, enough about us. We wanted to answer some questions today that have come into the Rave Mom line, and you can access that on plurway.com. And so there's been quite a few questions about how to handle anger. And then we've had some questions about forgiveness. And so I thought that would be cool to cover those 2 topics today. And I want to say once again, we are not counselors. We are not therapists. We are moms. And so, follow our advice at your own risk.
We just want what's best for you.
Yes. Yep. And we love you guys. We love this generation. And we've both had a lot of pain in our lives, in our background. And so we're just hoping that some experiences we have will bless you and help you and maybe give you shortcuts that we didn't have, And so this whole anger thing. So I've had quite a few questions, like I said, about anger and just how to handle anger. And I believe that when an angry thought comes my way, that's not a failure. That's not like a shame thing. You can't help when something like that comes your way and it triggers you. It's what you do with it next, right? Mm-hmm. What's your next step? What's your next thing you're going to do? And I don't know, Terry, you've driven with me quite a bit. I drive kind of fast, huh?
A little bit.
Have I scared you?
Just a few times.
Okay. So, I find that the most angry that I get is when I'm driving.
Really?
Yeah. Like, not when I'm with someone, but when I'm alone. Like, I get really mad when someone does something stupid on the road.
I think that's normal.
Do you?
For a lot of us, yes. Yeah. And then sometimes I get really frustrated and I think, what am I doing? I think sometimes to get through that anger, I think, but what about that person? What if that's my grandparent? What if that's my parent? What if that person had a really, really bad experience and they're, really upset? And so I try to think of what situation they might be going through to kind of give them some grace and calm my anger.
Yeah, that's really cool. I've heard it said that we should take our thoughts captive. And it's kind of a thing that I've tried to remember and really looking at what that means. So when an angry thought comes our way, how do you take it captive? And the way I look at it is like almost like putting handcuffs on it. Like not letting it go any further than a thought, like not letting it turn into an action, like stopping it, arresting it right there and handcuffing it and going, no, I'm not going to do anything about it. Have you ever experienced trying to do
The
that?
handcuffs is an interesting image. But yes, I have to tell my brain to stop, just stop and flip it, because otherwise it just starts to really have an effect and keep going, and you roll with the anger. And I don't think that that's a good path to take.
Yeah. Yeah. I've done that, what you were talking about too. And that's helped me on the road. When someone cuts me off, I think, once I get mad and then I just go, oh wait, maybe that person is just got some really bad news, or maybe they're on their way to the hospital. Like, I don't know what's going on in that car. And so kind of like assuming the best. And
Right, because how many times have I accidentally cut someone off, or not seen them, or been looking at my phone and not seeing it turn green, which I try not to do, but just giving grace.
Yeah.
And how I have made the mistake, they probably are too. So it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. So in a way, you're putting handcuffs on that anger and that angry thought, and you're going, whoop, stop. There could be another reason for this. And then you brought in another word, grace, like applying grace to that situation. Yeah.
Right. As when you do something wrong and you're like, you want to just stop and say, I didn't mean to, or I wish I had little signs. Whoops, in my car. I didn't know this off ramp, or, whatever. And so, yes, as I've been given or want to have grace, then I want to give that to others as well.
Oh, yeah. What is that called? The golden rule?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Do unto others what you would want them to do to you. Yeah.
Or treat others as you would want to be treated.
Yeah. That's cool. I once heard about this in the animal kingdom, this fight flight response brought on by fear. And how if you watch like one of those like National Geographic specials, you'll see like all these like antelope that are like feeding in a meadow, and then the lion comes out and attacks, one of the ones that's on the edge, and all the other ones, take flight. They run as fast as they can, and their hearts are probably racing like crazy. And then after the immediate danger's over, you'll see them gathering under the shade of a bush or a tree and laying down and resting and like resetting themselves. And someone was talking about that. I can't remember who, but I remember it just has stuck with me that when you get in that situation where you're either like you get super afraid of something, or you get super angry about something, you've got to take that time to reset, to bring it down and rest. Otherwise you stay in that, and not rest like physically. Maybe if I get angry by someone on the freeway, I'm not going to like say, I need to pull over at the next rest stop and take a nap. But in your mind, just sort of bring yourself back down and rest, because you got to reset yourself. Otherwise you stay in that fight or flight feeling, and you stay kind of up all day. And then the whole rest of the day, that could cause you to just snap at people and treat other people rudely because you got angry at 8:30 in the morning on the way to work, and you didn't take time to reset. And so the whole rest of the day, it puts you in that mood, right?
That makes sense, because why would I allow someone to, just because of something that they did, either consciously or unconsciously, to dictate how I'm going to have my whole day?
Oh, wow.
So yes, there's like, counting to 10, breathing exercises, singing a song that lifts you up, different ways to deal with that.
Yeah. Those are good ways to reset after you've been upset about something or angry.
Yeah.
And I think maybe before we return to the people we love, the people we have relationships with, to really be focused on that. Like, I'm not going to let what happened in my day take control over me, sort of, and control over my relationship by causing me to have a mood when I get around them.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, we can't control what other people do, but we can definitely control how we react to it or how we move on from that situation.
Yeah. I'm not sure I ever really took the time to teach my kids this. I hope I did, but I'm thinking back and I'm like, did you like intentionally teach your kids how to handle situations like this?
I did at least teach them that they are in control of their own actions.
Yeah.
They're not a victim of someone else's actions. They have control on how to move forward with their actions.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Yeah. A lot of times arguments are caused really when people don't take control or accept responsibility for their own behavior.
True.
They blame it on the other person instead of looking for, okay, how did I participate in this situation?
Right. And I do remember with my kids when they were in school or interacting with other people, it's like, I understand the situation, but what was your part in it and what can you learn and take from it? So.
Yeah, that's super important. So you did teach your kids. I think I hope I taught my kids at least by example.
I'm sure you did.
I just don't remember sitting them down and saying, okay, now. I remember not too long ago getting a text from a kid that called the Rave Mom line on Flurway.com. And she said, I can't control my anger. I just walk around angry all the time. And it's starting to affect my relationship with my significant other. And I'm going to lose him if I don't figure out a way to shape this up. How would you, I know how I answered her, but what would you have said?
That makes me so sad. Because if you walk around with all that heaviness and all that anger, you're just, you're just robbing yourself of any joy. And it just really makes me sad. I don't know what I would have said. What did you say?
Well, I encouraged her to first change her mind, basically, and just go, her mindset, like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be like this anymore. And then I encouraged her to verbalize that to her significant other, to say, I realize that I have been doing this and I want to change. And I feel like that's the first step of changing, like to verbalize that I want to change this and I want you to know I'm going to be working on it, and then to ask for forgiveness and acknowledge that it's going to take me some time. Could you give me grace and mercy? There's that word again, that grace.
So you're saying acknowledge it first.
Yeah.
And verbalize it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's kind of accountability.
It is. It is.
That's good.
And just by her texting me and asking about it, that was acknowledging it and asking for advice. And I said, share that with him. Share that you texted me and you asked me. And then I did talk about, taking thoughts captive, putting handcuffs on that anger, and making sure that no outside situations are taking control. I also made sure that this guy wasn't being abusive to her, because there is that where, if you're in an abusive relationship, you can't treat it like a normal, average, everyday, healthy relationship. If this guy's an abuser, you don't need to stay in that.
So you're saying like verbalizing it.
Right.
And maybe journaling it.
Yeah.
Writing down your thoughts and what are the triggers? What is making her so angry?
Right. And then asking for forgiveness and just sharing, my purpose is to change this behavior. And would you stay with me while I do this? Would you walk through this with me? And of course, being willing to understand if that person, maybe you've hurt them so much that they feel like they need to walk away. But accepting that, but then learning so that it doesn't happen in future relationships, you know?
And you mentioned forgiveness.
Yeah.
That's huge. It's because when we don't forgive people, we carry that burden
Yeah.
and that hurt. And I think part of forgiveness is more for our release of that, as well as the other person.
I totally agree with you. I've seen it over and over again, and I'm 61 years old and I'm still learning about forgiveness. It's kind of a lifelong journey to learn how to forgive. And I've been learning that people sometimes won't ask for forgiveness. And that's not a condition that has to be present for us to forgive. We can forgive someone who has not or nor will ever ask for forgiveness. We can even forgive someone who's abused us, who's been toxic to us. And I think where I've hung up on that in the past is I have thought that forgiveness means that you have to enter back into a relationship with the person you've forgiven. And you don't. Forgiveness, like you just said, you said something super important. It's releasing you. And what I've found is it's often more healthy for the one who's doing the forgiving than the one who's even being forgiven.
So some people might ask, is forgiveness meaning forgetting it?
I have an opinion on that. Do you want to hear it?
I do want to hear it.
Okay. I personally believe that God is the only one that can forgive and forget. And I believe that not being able to forget is almost a gift sometimes, because I think if someone is hurting you, it's healthy to remember, this person has the ability to really hurt me. And so I'm not sure that forgiveness means that we have to forget, because sometimes there are situations we need to remember and never get into a situation like that with this particular person ever again. But I think what we can do is forgive in the sense of giving up my right to make that person pay for what they did to me. That's what I've been learning about for forgiveness is I am going to release this person and I'm not going to make them continue to pay for what they did, even in my mind.
That's good, because if you don't, then you're always dwelling on it and you're giving that person far more time and thought than you want to.
Yeah. I had to do that with my dad. So I was raised in a very, very abusive home, and he was abusive to me in every way. And I didn't realize that I hadn't forgiven him, because he's gone now. And so he's died, and but I was still it's kind of weird. I was sort of making him pay for what he did to me, because I was like changing things about the way I lived, that it was almost like he was still controlling how I live. Because I'm thinking, I am never going to do that again, or I'm never going to allow that again in my life. I'm never going to, because of what he did. He was still controlling my life, even though he's died a long time ago. But I was still allowing this person to have power over me. And so I'm going to just share something that might be gross. I hope nobody gets grossed out by this, but he was very, very controlling. He was a narcissist, and he knew that I hated burnt scrambled eggs. Okay. So if they were really brown, it would make me gag. And he would cook the eggs that he would make me on purpose brown, because it just, in his sick way, it just made him feel good about himself, I guess, that he had. And then he would force me to eat it, even if I ended up throwing it up. I would have to eat it anyway. And he was very scary. And so I had to do what he said so that I wouldn't get hurt by him. But anyway, I grew up as an adult like, I'm never eating eggs again because I don't have to. And I this is a right that I have, and I'm not going to eat eggs. And I've learned over time. Now, I still won't eat brown scrambled eggs. In fact, I don't really like scrambled eggs, and I won't eat that. But I have learned to eat all kinds of eggs, and I have learned that I have missed out by canceling out eggs in my life. And now I enjoy things that have eggs in them, and I eat hard-boiled eggs all the time, and I eat quiche that has eggs and stuff because I realized my dad was still having control over me because I was going to make him pay by showing that I never have to eat eggs ever again.
And then who did you hurt?
I just hurt myself.
Yeah.
So I thought I'd forgiven my dad because he's dead and, I moved on with my life. But I realized there was some lack of forgiveness still because I was still making him pay for what he had done to me. Once I did that and released that, I'm the one who got free because I forgave.
That's a really good example.
Yeah.
Eggs.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought?
Yeah.
Well, anyway, I hope that this mom conversation helped someone out there in some way. And I want to just let you know that you can message us on Plurway Rave Moms on Instagram if there's a subject you want us to cover. And we don't have all the answers, but we'll do our best. And we'll just answer you like we would of our kids if our kids had asked us the same question. We realize that there's a big need in this generation for moms. There's like a lack of moms, and that's why when we go to raves and we're hugging kids, they line up because a lot of them don't have that in their lives. So
we just want to tell you that you're precious and you're valuable and you're worth our time, and we love you.
Consider yourself hugged virtually today. We love you guys. Thanks for watching today. If you have questions or you'd like to talk to a mom, go to plurway.com and click on text or call a Rave Mom. We'd love to hear from you.